have this kind of experience, you literally feel unconditional love through your whole body. It's impossible to walk away from that without it changing everything about you.
Danny Panzella and his partner Vanessa Velez have seen a lot of changes in themselves over the past year. Together for 8 years, they helped raise Danny's son from a previous marriage. Danny shares custody. But the two struggled with problems in their relationship, including infertility.
I was definitely experiencing a lot of anxiety and depression, specifically around the infertility and having to parent a child that I felt wasn't my own, and I would be stressed all the time.
We had the bedrock of loving each other, and so we wanted to work through all of our issues.
A year ago, a friend suggested they try psychedelic drugs as a form of relationship therapy. The two were already in couples counseling.
I was definitely afraid, but we did do a lot of research before. It's not like we jumped in and we're like, all right, yeah, we're just gonna take this.
Some of the psychedelic compounds that we found useful at different times were cannabis, psilocybin mushrooms, ayahuasca, and MDMA.
They say these drugs changed how they see each other.
All the things that we were afraid to say to each other were just like poured out of us. And to be in this place of peace and love, it was like, oh my God, why was I so afraid of saying these things?
Danny and Vanessa also say the drugs help them be better parents.
If our trips are helping us become more compassionate people, more understanding people, people that allow love to flow through us, then that helps us become better parents.
To live in joy and love, I mean, how could that not positively affect my son? For me to be a more compassionate person.
Welcome, Danny Panzella and Vanessa Velez. They're joined by psychologist Rachel Yehuda, professor of psychiatry and neuroscience at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. Thank you all for being here this morning. A lot of folks watching, listening, scratching their heads. It's controversial. It's illegal as well. What have been the benefits, Danny and Vanessa? What have you seen in your relationship as a result of using these drugs?
Well, I think I'd have to start with what the experience is actually like. And we just kind of saw it in the video, the feeling of unconditional love. When we drop our ego, we go through the world and there's all these stresses and, you know, we all suffer from PTSD at some level. And our ego throws up all these defense mechanisms. And that causes us to not be able to really feel love, I think, in an unconditional way. And so what these psychedelics do is they turn the volume down on our egos for a little while, and we can just be vulnerable with each other as a couple, and just even in general in all of our interpersonal relationships. You can just be more vulnerable and express love in a more pure way, I guess.
Yeah.
How do you take them? I mean, what is the form that they come in, and how long does that last for?
We take, usually mushrooms is one of our preferred methods, so it's just literally eating the mushrooms.
But to be clear, you're microdosing here, right?
We have done some microdosing, which is basically...
Oh, we're talking full dosing.
We're taking full doses.
Oh.
Doctor, I saw you nodding when he was talking about PTSD, being able to kind of feel the love that many of us want to feel but somehow can't. You're nodding, going, exactly right. And so I'm sure a lot of parents are sitting there going like, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't want to tell my kids this. Why would you advocate that this is a beneficial thing for parents or couples?
Well, I'm not so much advocating as listening very carefully to what I'm hearing. And I think that our job is really to listen to these experiences and then perform rigorous clinical trials to be able to understand who should be using these very powerful psychedelic treatments and how they should be used. And right now there is a lot of research that is starting to happen on how to use these psychedelic medicines. And in fact, we've just opened up a center at Mount Sinai, the Center for Psychedelic Psychotherapy and Trauma, exactly for this reason, in order to be able to harness the therapeutic properties of psychedelics and understand exactly who should use them. Of course, our trials are all going to be legal and FDA approved, and eventually these psychedelics might be more broadly available if we do the work in understanding them.
Well, I was just going to say, Vanessa, just going back to what we just alluded to there, the fact that these drugs, especially the way that you guys are using them, they are illegal in this country. How do you reconcile that?
well, we're loving each other more and openly and pouring that love into the child that we're raising. I mean, 50-something years ago, our relationship would have been illegal. So if we're going to base it on whether something should be illegal just for the sake of being illegal, what we're doing is helping our relationship, helping our family. We're not hurting anybody. We're not causing pain to anybody. Quite the contrary, we're healing ourselves so that we don't cause pain to our child, so that we don't cause pain to other family members, anybody that we come into contact with at this point.
How do you explain that to your child?
It's the difference between, what's more important, what's legal or what's moral, right? There's nothing immoral about using plant medicines. Yeah, the laws haven't caught up yet. The DEA still says cannabis is a dangerous drug. But, we all know that that's not really true. The research is there. And the doctor is as awareness continues to open up, she's going to have more leeway to do more of that research to prove what we already know.
Vanessa, thank you both. I appreciated the Loving V Virginia reference, too. That was good.